There is a woman in Kyoto whose kitchen counter has two things on it: a small ceramic bowl for her rings and a single plant in a clay pot near the window. That is all. She cooks every morning. She feeds a family. She uses that kitchen the way all of us use our kitchens: for breakfast, for dinner, for the quiet 10 minutes between school drop-off and the start of the workday, when a cup of something warm is the only thing standing between you and the day ahead. And yet, every single morning when she walks into that kitchen, something happens that does not happen for most of us. Her shoulders drop. Not because her kitchen is bigger, not because it is newer, not because she has more storage, better appliances, a renovation she saved for over 3 years, because there is nothing in that kitchen that does not belong there. No stack of plastic bags stuffed in a drawer that has not opened properly since 2019. No collection of mugs with chips on the rim that you keep meaning to throw away. No appliance on the counter that you used once on a Tuesday and have been moving around the kitchen ever since, looking for a place it was never going to find. Nothing. And somewhere else right now, in a kitchen exactly like yours, someone is opening a drawer that sticks, looking for a spatula that should take 3 seconds to find, moving the quesadilla maker out of the way for the 4th morning in a row, stepping over the bag of bags and starting the day with a friction they have been living with for so long they have stopped noticing it is even there. What if the difference between those two kitchens has nothing to do with size, money, or time, and everything to do with 15 specific things that Japanese kitchens quietly refuse to keep? By the end of this video, you will know exactly what all 15 are. And number 7, the one sitting on almost every kitchen counter in America right now, is the one most women tell me they could not unsee once they finally saw it. Stay with me, because the ones at the end of this list are the ones that change the most. Before we get into the 15 things, there is something worth understanding about why Japanese kitchens work the way they do, because it is not what most people think. It is not minimalism for its own sake. It is not aesthetic. It is not a design trend or a wellness movement or something that arrived on Pinterest 3 years ago. It is something much older and much simpler than any of that. In Japan, there is a principle called danshari, 3 characters that translate roughly as refuse, discard, separate. Together, they describe not a one-time clearing out, not a Saturday spent throwing things into bin bags, but an ongoing daily relationship with what is allowed into your space, what earns its place, what gets to stay. And in the Japanese kitchen specifically, that principle produces something most of us have never experienced: a room where every single object has been chosen, and nothing is simply there because it arrived and never left. That is the thread running through all 15 items we are about to go through. Not clutter in the way we usually mean it, not just the visible mess, but the quieter kind, the things that stay because removing them was never urgent enough to do, and stay and stay and slowly make the kitchen feel like a room that is slightly working against you rather than with you. Each one of these 15 things has a reason for being in your kitchen. Japan has 15 quiet reasons why it should not be. Let us go through all of them. The first item is sitting in most kitchens right now. In a cabinet, in a drawer, or still in use because it has not quite gotten bad enough to throw away: a chipped mug, a cracked bowl, a plate with a hairline fracture across the middle that you can still eat from if you are careful. Most of us keep them because getting rid of them feels wasteful, because they still work, technically, because the chip is small, because there are other priorities. Here is what Japan understands about a chipped mug that most of us have never been told. Dr. Darby Saxbe at the University of Southern California has spent years studying the relationship between the physical state of a home and the stress hormones of the people living in it. Her research is consistent. Objects in the daily environment that signal damage, incompleteness, or disorder produce measurable cortisol responses, even when the person is not consciously aware of them. Every morning you pick up that chipped mug, something in your nervous system notices, not loudly, not in a way that rises to the level of thought, but it notices. Japan's philosophy of wabi-sabi is sometimes misunderstood as an appreciation for imperfection, as a reason to keep the broken thing. It is not. Wabi-sabi is about finding beauty in the natural impermanence of things. The chipped mug is not wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi is the understanding that the mug had a full life and that its life is now complete. Japan does not keep the cracked cup as a lesson in imperfection. It keeps it until it has been fully used, and then it lets it go. That is not the same thing. Tonight, open your cabinet, pull out anything chipped, cracked, or broken enough that you would not serve it to someone you were trying to impress. Those are the ones that go. The second item has been in your kitchen for longer than you can honestly remember, probably toward the back of the spice drawer or the condiment shelf, or that section of the cabinet where things get pushed behind other things. Expired spices, old condiments, the bottle of something that was purchased for one recipe in 2021 and has not been opened since. Japan's kitchen philosophy is built around a concept called shun, the principle of seasonality, of eating and keeping what belongs to this moment rather than accumulating what belonged to a different one. A spice that has lost its potency is not just a waste of drawer space. In a Japanese kitchen, it is a small act of dishonesty, keeping something that is pretending to be useful when it is not. The research backs this up in a different way. A study published in the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that expired and unused food items are among the highest sources of background decision load in domestic kitchens because every time they are seen, the brain registers a micro decision. Do I need to deal with this? And the answer is always not right now. And not right now becomes never. A Japanese kitchen does not keep a spice it cannot name the last time it used. That is not minimalism. That is honesty about what actually belongs in the room. Go through your spice drawer this week. Smell each one. If the smell is faint, it is gone. If you cannot remember using it, it is done. Let it go. The third item is in your utensil drawer right now. Multiple versions of it. The spatula collection. The 3 wooden spoons. The 4 ladles of slightly different sizes that all do approximately the same job. The garlic press. The lemon squeezer. The melon baller you have owned since someone gave it to you and have used a number of times you could count on one hand with fingers left over. Japan's principle of emma, intentional empty space, applies to drawers as much as it applies to counters. A drawer that opens with resistance is not a minor inconvenience. The American Psychological Association's research on decision fatigue has consistently shown that micro decisions, where is the right spatula? Which spoon do I need? How do I fit this back in? Are the most cumulatively draining category of daily choices. Not the big decisions, the small, repeated ones. The Japanese kitchen drawer opens cleanly because everything in it has exactly one reason to be there. Every duplicate you own is a small tax on the morning you have not noticed you are paying. Keep the one you reach for. Release the rest. The fourth item lives in a drawer or a cabinet door or a designated spot that has grown to fill whatever space you gave it. Plastic shopping bags, stuffed inside each other, occasionally used for bin liners, mostly just accumulating. In 2020, Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry introduced a mandatory charge on single-use plastic bags, a policy that accelerated what the culture was already moving toward. The plastic bag drawer is not just a storage habit. It is a visible record of every time the intention to change did not quite become a decision to change. And here is what is interesting about it psychologically. Researchers studying avoidance behavior in domestic spaces found that objects connected to unresolved intentions, things we keep because we might use them, things we have around because getting rid of them requires a decision we have not made, create what they call ambient guilt, a low-level background sense of something unresolved. It's not enough to act on, enough to register. The bag drawer is not storage. It is the physical record of every time you said you would use them and did not. Japan removed the temptation entirely by removing the bag. The fifth item is on your counter or in a low cabinet or in that dedicated appliance drawer that has become a graveyard of good intentions. The spiralizer, the quesadilla maker, the sandwich press, the mini waffle iron, the smoothie bullet that came with 12 pieces and currently has 4. Japan's kitchen philosophy is built on the tamagoyaki pan, a small rectangular pan designed specifically to make one dish, used every single morning, mastered completely, kept for decades. One tool, one purpose, total reliability. The novelty appliance is the opposite of that. It is the tool purchased on the promise of a habit that never formed. And here is the part that matters most. It does not just take up space. Every time you see it, you see the version of yourself who was going to use it. And that costs something. Japan built the tamagoyaki pan for one dish and used it every single morning. The West built the spiralizer for one Tuesday and called it a lifestyle change. The difference is visible in every kitchen cabinet. Now we arrive at number 6. And this one is going to require a moment to sit with because it is not a single object. It is an entire category that Japan decided, quietly and without making a fuss about it, simply does not belong in a kitchen at all. The junk drawer. Every home has one. The drawer where things go when they do not have a home. Batteries, a rubber band, a pen that may or may not write, a key that opens something you can no longer identify, a charger for a phone you no longer own, a takeaway menu from a restaurant that has been closed for 2 years. Princeton's Neuroscience Institute published research showing that unresolved visual clutter, objects without designated purpose or place, competes for neural resources in a way that measurably reduces the brain's ability to focus, to process information, and to feel calm. The junk drawer does not need to be open. It is enough that you know it is there. Japan does not have a junk drawer. Not because Japanese people have fewer things, because every object was given a home before it was allowed into the kitchen. A thing with a home does not become junk. The drawer is what happens when that decision was never made. This week, open the junk drawer. Every object in it needs either a permanent home or a way out. There is no third option. And now, number 7. I told you about this one at the beginning. The one most women tell me they could not unsee once they finally saw it. Look at your kitchen counter right now. Is there a dish rack on it? Not in the cupboard, not under the sink. on the counter, permanently, slightly damp, never fully empty because clean dishes go in faster than they get put away, pooling water underneath it, making the counter look unfinished even when the rest of the kitchen is clean. In Japan, this problem was solved not with a better dish rack, but with a different question. The question was not, where do we put the dish rack? The question was, why does the counter need to hold this at all? The answer was the over-sink drying cabinet, mounted directly above the sink, dishes placed inside after washing, dried by a built-in heating element, stored where they will be used next. Off the counter, out of sight, ready. There is research from the Cornell Food and Brand Lab showing that visible clutter on kitchen counters is directly correlated with the mental state people bring to food preparation. A cluttered counter does not just look messy. It produces a measurable effect on how people feel about cooking, and therefore on what and how much they eat. Japan did not invent a better dish rack. It decided the counter deserved the space back entirely. You may not be able to install an oversint cabinet tonight, but you can ask yourself whether the dish rack needs to live on your counter permanently or whether there is a home for it that is not your most valuable workspace. The 8th item is inside your refrigerator, or more precisely, it is the collection of containers inside your refrigerator that do not match each other and never have. The old takeaway containers, the ice cream tub being used for leftovers, the 3 sizes of Tupperware that do not stack with each other, the one with the lid that no longer fits quite right. Japanese kitchen organization uses consistent, clear, uniform containers, same brand where possible, same shape, same size ranges, all with lids that work. Not because it is more beautiful, because every mismatch is a decision. Which lid fits this? Is this the right size? Can I see what is inside? Every morning you open the refrigerator, your brain is doing this calculation. Japan removed the calculation. A Japanese refrigerator is not organized to look beautiful. It is organized so that every decision about what to eat tonight is made in under 5 seconds. The beauty is the result, not the goal. The 9th item is on a shelf in your kitchen or a rack beside it, or a dedicated cookbook stand that the cookbooks have outgrown. Cookbooks you have never opened. Or opened once, found one recipe, made it twice, and not touched since. Japan has a word for the cultural habit of buying books and not reading them, tsundoku. It originally described books, but it applies perfectly to cookbooks, because a cookbook bought on enthusiasm and left unread is not just an object taking up space. It is the cook you intended to become, standing on your shelf, reminding you of everything you have not gotten around to yet. BBC Culture documented tsundoku as one of Japan's most psychologically precise concepts, the gap between acquisition and use, between intention and action, between who we think we are buying the book for and who we actually are when we never open it. The cookbook you have never opened is not inspiration. It is tsundoku in a harder cover. Keep the ones you cook from, release the ones you own. The 10th item is in the drawer under the counter, or the cabinet beside the sink, or the kitchen drawer that holds the things most people use and throw away without thinking. Plastic wrap, cling film, single-use sandwich bags. The roll that you bought a new one of before the last one ran out, and now both rolls live in the same drawer. Japan's mottainai philosophy, the principle of zero waste, of honoring the full value of what already exists before introducing something new, applies to the single-use drawer more directly than almost anywhere else in the kitchen. Every roll of cling film is a decision made in advance that you will use something once and discard it. Japan has been moving away from that decision for decades toward beeswax wraps, reusable containers, cloth covers, not perfectly, not overnight, but deliberately. Mottainai does not begin with how you throw things away. It begins with what you choose to bring in. The plastic wrap roll in your drawer made that choice for you. The 11th item is on your counter or a windowsill or a shelf that exists specifically to display things that make the kitchen look more like a home. The ceramic rooster, the novelty salt and pepper shakers, the decorative bowl that holds fruit when you remember to buy fruit, the small collection of ornamental objects that have not moved in months and that you clean around every time you wipe the counter. Japanese kitchens are functional surfaces, not display spaces. The philosophy is not that beautiful objects have no place in a home. It is that a kitchen counter exists to prepare food, and anything on it that is not part of that purpose is a tenant that is not paying rent. And here is the part most people have not thought about. Every decorative object in a kitchen collects cooking grease. The ceramic rooster is being slowly coated in the residue of every meal you have cooked since you put it there. You are cleaning it without cleaning it, wiping around it, never moving it, never truly addressing the surface beneath it. The Japanese kitchen counter is clear, not because Japan does not value beautiful things, but because it values the mourning more than the display. The 12th item is on your counter, or beside your stove, or in the corner of the workspace where you do the most cutting. The knife block. Wooden, slotted, taking up a solid 6 inches of counter space, housing knives of varying quality and usefulness, some of which you use every day, and some of which you have not touched since you moved in. Japan uses a magnetic wall strip, 6 inches of stainless steel, mounted on the wall above the counter. Knives hang flat against it, visible and accessible, taking up 0 counter space and keeping blades significantly sharper than the friction of a wooden slot ever could. It is not a complicated solution. It is a question that was asked and answered. Where is the best place for knives that is not on the counter? Japan put the knives on the wall and gave the counter back to the food. It is a 6-inch magnetic strip. It changes the feel of the entire kitchen. The 13th item is beside your sink, or on the counter within reach, or hanging on a holder specifically designed to hold it. The paper towel roll. Japan uses tenugui, small, thin cotton hand towels, flat, reusable, hung on a single hook beside the sink. They dry quickly, clean easily, and occupy almost no space. They cost approximately $3 and last for years. The paper towel roll costs $3 a week and sits permanently in the workspace where your hands need to move freely. It is not just a cost. It is a single-use item that has been so normalized in Western kitchens that the idea of removing it sounds unusual. Japan made this decision once, not as an environmental statement. As a kitchen decision, the tenugui takes less space, costs less over time, and cleans better. The paper towel roll exists because no one ever asked whether it should. The 14th item is in your refrigerator right now. Not the obviously expired things. Those are easier to deal with. This is the other category, the things that are probably still fine. The pasta sauce opened 6 weeks ago that is almost certainly okay. The leftover rice from 4 days ago that you have been meaning to eat. The yogurt that is 2 days past its date but smells all right. The half-used tin of coconut milk with a bit of cling film pressed over the top. Japan's shun philosophy, the principle of seasonality and freshness, of eating what belongs to this moment produces a refrigerator that holds certainty, not probability. A Japanese kitchen does not keep probably, it keeps certainly, and there is a reason this matters beyond waste. A refrigerator that holds uncertainty holds stress. Every time you open it, you are making small calculations about things you are not sure of. That is not a refrigerator doing its job. That is a refrigerator adding to the cognitive load of every meal. A Japanese refrigerator holds what is certain to be eaten. The Western refrigerator holds what might still be fine. That difference compounds every single week. And now, number 15, the last one, the one I told you about at the beginning. Look at your counter, or your kitchen table, or the corner of the worktop nearest the door. Is there a bowl there, or a tray, or a basket, or a small ceramic dish, or any kind of container that has become, without you ever deciding it should be, the place where things go when they do not have a home? The batteries that need to go upstairs, the rubber band, the pen, the takeaway receipt, the thing your child put down yesterday and has not picked up yet, the key that you are not sure what it opens anymore, but that you are not ready to throw away. That is the everything bowl. And here is what Japan understands about it that the rest of us have been slow to see. The everything bowl is not clutter. The everything bowl is the physical evidence of every decision that was never made. Every object in it is there, because at the moment it arrived, there was no designated place for it. And so, it went into the bowl, and the bowl became its place. And now it lives there, quietly accumulating, quietly registering, quietly adding its weight to the room every single morning. Japan does not have an everything bowl. Not because Japanese kitchens are more disciplined, because every object was given a specific home before it was allowed into the kitchen. The bowl is what happens when that decision was never made. 15 items. None of them clutter in the way we usually think about it. Not piles of rubbish or obvious disorder. Just 15 things that are there because they arrived, and staying was easier than deciding. Japan decided. 15 times over, across generations of kitchens, Japan looked at what was in the room and asked a single quiet question. Does this belong here, or is it simply here because no one has moved it? The woman in Kyoto, with her 2 things on the counter, did not arrive at that kitchen through discipline or sacrifice or a dramatic life overhaul. She arrived there through 15 small decisions, made once, that she has never needed to make again. Tonight, before you go to bed, walk into your kitchen. Do not clean it. Do not organize it. Just look at it. Find one thing on your counter, in your drawer, on your shelf, in your refrigerator. One thing that is there because it arrived and never left, rather than because it belongs. Pick it up. Make the decision that was never made. That is where it starts. One object, one decision. The kitchen that makes your shoulders drop the moment you walk in is not one renovation away. It is 15 decisions away. And the first one is waiting for you tonight. If this changed the way you see your own kitchen, share it with one woman in your life who has been moving the same things around the same counter for years, wondering why the room never quite feels the way she wants it to feel. She may be one decision away from finding out. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.